Here are some of the fraction problems from the review sheet. Here's problem number 1. This is an addition problem. Remember, additions and subtractions, the denominators have to be the same. If you've watched the video on the Fraction Freak Show, this is the twins Addie and Subby. They always like to wear the same pair of pants. The denominators, the bottoms, the pants have to be the same before we can add or subtract fractions. So we have to find the common denominator first. Remember, the common denominator is a number that the two denominators will divide into. A number that's big enough that both of them can divide into it. Well, 12 is big enough for 6 and 4 to both divide into. There are other numbers that are big enough, but 12 is the smallest of those numbers. So we want to make the denominators of these fractions 12. And remember, we can't just bring the numerators down. We have to find the multiplier, and we have to build the fractions up. The multiplier that transforms a 6 into 12 is 2. So that's what we have to also multiply the numerator by. 2 times 5 makes 10. The multiplier that will transform the 4 into 12 is 3. So the numerator and denominator of this fraction both have to be multiplied by 3. Now we have fractions that are equivalent to the original fractions, but both have a denominator of 12. We can now perform the addition. We add the numerators and put that answer over the common denominator. So our answer is 19/12. If we want to, we can convert that to a mixed number. That would be 1 7/12. Here with this subtraction, again, we have to have the same denominator. Additions and subtractions have to have the same denominator. Well, in this case, the common denominator is one of the denominators itself. 12 is a multiple of 4. So 4 can divide into 12. So 12 is a big enough number to serve as the common denominator. That means this fraction has to be, or does not have to be changed. It can remain the same. It already has the denominator we're going to use as the common denominator. And again, the multiplier here, as we saw in the previous fraction problem, is a multiplier of 4 to transform the 4 into a 12. 4 times 3 makes 12, and so 3 times 3, the numerator becomes 9. Now we can subtract. 11/12 minus 9/12 gives us 2/12. And 2/12 we can reduce. 2 is a factor of both of those. 2 can be divided by 2, and 12 can be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. 12 divided by 2 gives us 6. So 11/12 minus 3/4 gives us an answer of 1/6. Only when we are adding and subtracting, only when we have those fractions, Addie and Subby, those twins, only then do we need to have a common denominator. When we're multiplying, remember this is the, Mulroy that can shrink himself, can reduce himself before our very eyes. That helps us remember that the first thing we do when we multiply is we reduce, we cancel between the numerators and denominators. We look for any common factors. What number will divide into one of these numerators that will also divide into one of the denominators? Well, if I look at 14 and 21, hopefully I recognize they both have a factor of 7. 7 will divide into both of those numbers. When I divide 7 into 14, I get an answer of 2. When I divide 21 by 7, I get an answer of 3. And looking at the 10 and the 25, they're both divisible by 5. When I divide 10 by 5, I get an answer of 2. When I divide 25 by 5, I get an answer of 5. And so when we are multiplying, the first thing we try to do is reduce by dividing out common factors between one of the numerators and one of the denominators. And once we've done all the factoring, all the canceling and reducing we can do, then we multiply what's left. Multiply the numerators to get the numerator of the answer. 2 times 2 is 4. Multiply the denominators to get the denominator of the answer. 5 times 3 gives us 15. Now, when it comes to dividing, these are the dancing divas. And the dancing diva on the right flips upside down in order to dance with the diva on the left. So we have to, when we divide, we have to take the reciprocal of the second fraction and then turn the problem into a multiplication problem. Well, now that we have a multiplication problem, we're going to reduce, just as we did here. So 9 divided by 9 gives us 1. 27 divided by 9 gives us 3. Both of these numbers are divisible by 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. 1 times 7 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. Our answer to this division problem is 7/15. So, a quick review of some of the fraction problems that you had on your review sheet.